in the good old phrase of Monty Python, and now for something completely different. The question I have is one I believe occurs among American Jews quite often, but it has to do not with Israel or foreign policy. It has to do with this country. And quite often in Republican events, you don't hear this so much in Democratic events, but in Republican events, there's quite often an emphasis upon the idea that the United States of America is a country founded on, quote unquote, Judeo Christian values. Now, if I can pose the question not irreverently, but informally, in my experience, at least recently, and I've attended family leader events and Iowa Faith and Freedom Coalition events, when we think of the term Judeo-Christian values, it's usually not the Judeos that use that term, it's the Christians. And it's usually not the Catholics, it's the Protestants. And it's usually not the mainline Protestants, it's the conservative evangelical Protestants. And oftentimes in the Jewish community, there will be a concern articulated that, is that an attempt to cover over a sectarian agenda? And the question is really for you, what is that term Judeo-Christian values as far as the foundation of this country? What does that mean to you?
Well, actually, when I think of the term Judeo-Christian values, and I think of the values that we're talking about, the Judeo-Christian means biblical values, Old and New Testament values. That's how I view it, and I think that's how most people who use that term. And as I think about it, what values that are sort of at the heart of that are not New Testament values, but in fact the Ten Commandments. And they are sort of the foundational understanding of your obligation, certainly the first part of the Ten Commandments, but the latter parts are sort of foundational obligations that we have to each other in society. Murder, stealing, all those things. And so I would say that if you're thinking that when you say Judeo-Christian values, that somehow or another that has some theological aspect to it, I would reject that. And I don't think most people who use that term look at it from the standpoint of salvation history or something like that, but look at it as the moral obligations that are present within the Bible, and that how society is ordered along those moral truths. And that's how I see it. I think that's how most people see it. Now, look, there are different elements, obviously, who take other things out of the Bible, including a lot of evangelical Christians who take, the Bible and with respect to the nation of Israel, the state of Israel. I mean, so there's all sorts of interpretations, but I think the basic understanding is that the moral precepts taught in the Bible are the moral precepts and truths that we are reflected in our founding documents. And of course, the Declaration of Independence, is the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those unalienable rights, I think, are very much founded in biblical truth.